Good morning, everyone. I have a pleasure to be here in Belgrade, the city I love. It's not my first visit. And I will continue the presentation by Jean-Pierre, adding some details, especially related to widening issues, to involving more researchers from Europe in applications to ERC grants. I will start with some overview of some, say, basic statistics related to participation to ERC competitions. Then I will present one of the working groups of the Scientific Council working on widening of European participation, which is a very important issue to many European countries, and to Europe as a whole, of course. And then I will present some results concerning ERC and Serbian scientists. Some say compact statistical data. When we look for our operation, for more of ERC operation for over 10 years, we funded almost 10,000 now grants, which is a substantial number. Over 60,000 researchers and other professionals were employed in ERC research teams, because we have to, thank you, because we have to remember that along with principal investigators that receive an ERC grant, we have a team around that person composed of postdocs, PhD degree students, as well technicians and so on. The budget for current Horizon 2020 is, our budget of ERC is around 13 billion euro. When we look at the results, more than 100,000 papers from ERC projects were published in prestigious scientific journals. As Jean-Pierre mentioned, these are papers of very high quality. And more than almost 800 research institutions were hosting ERC grantees. These include universities, public or private research centers, not only in European Union countries, but also in associated countries, including Serbia. And 78 nationalities, these were nationalities of grant holders. So our grants are open to everyone in the world. So everyone can apply from any country, but of course, the hosting institution should be located in one of EU or associated countries. When we look at some statistics, we can see that success rate, so the percentage of those who received grants comparing to the total number of applications is very different in individual countries. So the most successful countries within European Union is the Netherlands. And of course, there are some other very strong countries like France, Germany, Austria, United Kingdom. When we look at EU 13 countries, those 13 countries that joined European Union later, their performance is not as good, although in some countries, when you look at Hungary especially, the success rate is better than in some, say, richer European countries. And we have also associated countries. The success rate of Switzerland is very impressive. Israel is one of those best performing. But of course, it's lots of work to be done in terms of some of those countries. Another interesting presentation of statistics. One of the problems, especially within EU, 13 countries and some associated countries, is that we have not a significant number of applications, but also some of those applications are not really good. And there are various, say, sometimes very deep reasons of that situation. So when we look at this slide, we can see that, for example, my country, Poland, does not perform very well. We hope to improve the situation. But this simply shows that some problems of underperformance of some countries cannot be solved at the ERC level, at the European level, but have to be solved also internally within those countries. This is an important slide, I think. It shows ERC grants depending on the gross domestic product of the countries presented here. So those countries that are marked above that line perform better than their GDP, and those below are inferior. So, but this simply shows that the money is not the only issue. Sometimes I hear in my country, for example, that, oh, if we have more money, it will be really good. Yeah? But this is not the only reason. Yeah? So, for example, Poland is underperforming and below our, say, financial possibilities. Now some words about the Scientific Council Working Group on widening European participation. Such a group was created just to fully use the potential of researchers in all European countries. Because this is a major loss to entire Europe that we don't use that potential properly. Yeah? Because smart people are distributed more or less evenly around the world. So, we have to find problems and reasons why researchers in some countries are underperforming and try to improve the situation. So this is very important, just to contribute fully to European culture of competitiveness in science. Yeah? European is inclusive, very inclusive, and very good. Strengthen participation in ERC calls by researchers from the EU less research performing regions, EU and also associated countries. And facilitate systematic debate and interactions with relevant stakeholders to promote national and local support for promising scientists from EU less performing regions. Yeah, so we are trying to identify the problems and we try to address them. One of the most important assumptions is that we cannot depart from our major principle, ERC major principle, that is the principle of excellence. So there is a simple rule: we fund the best proposals. So we won't prefer some researchers from some country because of some reasons, and if the proposal is not really good. Yeah? But we have to find some measures just to get those best proposals from underperforming regions. So what are the measures taken by the ERC? We monitor the situation, of course, continuously. We guarantee a fair evaluation process. So we are sure that in our evaluation process, some people are not treated in a, say, inferior way because of the region they come from. Raising awareness among potential ERC applicants and host institutions, including collaboration with the national contact points. We make recommendations to national policymakers related to supporting ERC finalists with national funding. So some people are very high in terms of marking in the ERC, but they didn't get funding, but they can receive support, local support from their countries. To support ERC applicants to improve their proposals, so Visiting Fellowship Initiative is one of those tools to achieve that. We try to recommend to make participation in ERC calls an essential component in national evaluations. So people are evaluating, institutions in various countries evaluate researchers, and we advocate to take into account the achievements of researchers in ERC. And to ensure a friendly and efficient environment, including strong administrative support and transparent recruitment procedures, which is a very important issue. So what are the examples of ERC widening participation actions? Briefings on ERC evaluation procedure, so we organize such briefings. Capacity building, so support to promising and funding ERC applications in partnership with European Economic Area and Norway grants, for example. Policy support and recommendation, we organize various events. There are various lists of some events organized in recent years. One of the important programs is ERC, Visit ERC Team Fellowships. So the guidelines are as follows, as shown here. These are short-term visits organized to potential applicants, visits in an ERC team, just to learn how the work on the project is going, and to meet people and to learn from their experiences in applying for ERC grants. Funding is by national research funding organizations. Eligibility, the program is open to all researchers working in European research area in public open competitions through evaluation panels composed by researchers of high repute based on excellence and potential for an ERC grant application. One of the conditions is to have a letter of support signed by an ERC grantee that person is to accept a person. And one of the, say, requirements is that successful applicants must sign a letter of commitment to apply for an ERC grant no later than 1-2 years after the end of the visit. So this is the list of the participating countries or regions in terms of Flanders here, for example, and some results in consecutive years. So the program is working. Now some words about ERC and Serbian scientists. So some statistics. When we look at the number of grants we funded, you see that in UK they received almost 2,000 grants. In Serbia, 2 grants. Of course, UK is a bigger country and a richer country, we know that. So there are big differences. And the situation is like that. So it was 1 starting grant and 1 consolidated grant. I'm talking about grants that are conducted within Serbia, within Serbian host institutions. When you look ERC grants by country and domain, so we have 3 domains: social sciences and humanities, physical and engineering sciences, and life sciences. So in Serbia, 1 grant in social sciences and humanities and 1 grant in physical sciences and engineering. Of course, there are more Serbian involved working on ERC funded projects. there are 11 Serbian principal investigators working abroad, mostly in UK and France. When you look at ERC grants in EU 13 countries, because this is the set, say, most similar in terms of the situation to Serbia, I mentioned already Hungary, and Hungary is pretty successful. It's a small country, but has the largest number of grants in EU 13 countries. And there are some countries that have, like Slovakia has two grants, Malta 1, Lithuania 1, Latvia 1. Yeah, so Serbia is, say, in terms of the group of similar to that in EU 13 countries, but it has, when we look at Hungary, especially a Hungarian example, Serbia has potential. When we look at ERC grants in associated countries, situation is very, say, diversified. I mentioned already Switzerland, which is pretty successful, but this is a very rich country with very, say, strong research institutions. Israel is also very strong, but there are also some countries having fewer grants. You can be proud of those two people working in Serbia on ERC grantees, Sofia Stefanovic from Bioscience Institute in Novi Sad. She received a grant in Social Science and Humanities, investigated demographic transition in the ancient Balkans. And the second person is Magdalena Đorđević from the Institute of Physics in Belgrade. The title of her grant is Understanding the Properties of Quark-gluon Plasma. Yeah, so very different topics, but it shows the potential and scope. Getting close to finish. There's lots of information available at website of the ERC. Of course, national contact points in many countries play a very important role. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on. I think there will be lots of opportunities to talk during the lunch, and it will be a networking event. And we'll have a presentation of Elena showing some details how to successfully apply to ERC grant. Thank you very much for your attention.